I smoothed down my silk dress for the 100th time, watching the anniversary banner flutter in the evening breeze. Celebrating 10 years of love, Sydney and Lyle sparkled in gold letters, mocking me with every gentle sway. My name is Sydney, and this was supposed to be the happiest night of my marriage. Instead, it became the night everything fell apart. "You look stunning, sis." Sadie appeared beside me, champagne flute in hand. "Though I still think you should have gone with the red dress." "Lyle likes blue," I replied automatically, then caught myself. Why did I still care what he liked? The garden party was in full swing, fairy lights twinkling in the trees of our backyard. 50 of our closest friends and family members mingled around elegant cocktail tables, their laughter carrying across the manicured lawn. My best friend Elise had helped plan every detail, right down to the hand-calligraphed place cards. Elise, who hadn't arrived yet. Elise, who'd been mysteriously busy lately. "Where's Lyle?" Sadie asked, scanning the crowd. "Isn't it time for his speech?" "Probably inside preparing. You know how he likes to make an entrance." Right on cue, my husband emerged from the house, looking devastatingly handsome in his tailored suit. But something was off in his expression, a glint in his eye I'd never seen before. "Everyone, if I could have your attention, please." Lyle's voice carried across the garden. The chatter died down as guests turned toward him. "First, I want to thank you all for coming tonight to celebrate 10 wonderful years with my beautiful wife, Sydney." Polite applause. I forced a smile, trying to ignore the knot forming in my stomach. "However," he continued, "tonight isn't just about celebrating the past. It's about embracing the future." He extended his hand toward the house. "Elise, darling." The world tilted sideways as Elise stepped out, wearing a red dress that hugged every curve. She took Lyle's hand, and they shared a look that told me everything I needed to know. "Many of you know Elise as Sydney's best friend," Lyle announced. "But for the past year, she's been much more than that to me. She's shown me what real love feels like." The garden erupted in gasps and murmurs. Sadie's hand found mine, squeezing tight. "Sydney!" Lyle turned to me, his voice dripping with false sympathy. "I'm sorry it had to happen this way, but Elise and I are in love. We're moving to the coast house, and my lawyer will be in touch about the divorce." I stood frozen, champagne flute trembling in my hand, as my husband and best friend smiled at our guests like they were announcing an engagement rather than destroying my life. "You bastard!" Sadie hissed, starting forward. But I held her back. "Not here," I whispered. "Not now." Elise caught my eye across the garden. She had the audacity to mouth, "I'm sorry," before turning back to Lyle, who was now proposing a toast to new beginnings. The party dissolved into chaos. Some guests hurried to leave. Others clustered in shocked groups, whispering behind their hands. My mother, Vada, appeared at my side, her face tight with fury. "Sydney, honey, let's get you inside." "No." My voice came out stronger than I expected. "This is my house, my party. I'm not going anywhere." I walked straight to the bar, set down my champagne, and picked up a bottle of Lyle's favorite scotch, the $300 bottle he'd been saving for a special occasion. Without breaking eye contact with him, I poured the entire thing onto his precious imported roses. "Sydney!" he barked, finally losing his composure. "Those roses are mine now," I finished coldly. "Along with everything else you thought you could take from me." I turned to the remaining guests, my voice clear and steady. "Thank you all for coming. Unfortunately, the party's over. Please drive safely." As people filed out, I caught snippets of conversation. "Can you believe the nerve?" "Poor Sydney. Always knew there was something off about him." Sadie stayed by my side until the last guest left, then pulled me into a fierce hug. "What do you need?" I pulled back, my mind already racing with possibilities. "I need Noah's number, the lawyer who handled Carmen's divorce last year." "The shark?" Sadie raised an eyebrow. "I thought you said he was too aggressive." I watched Lyle and Elise climb into his Mercedes, probably heading to the coast house he'd mentioned, the house I'd helped him buy. Aggressive is exactly what I need right now. As their taillights disappeared down the driveway, I felt something shift inside me. The shock and hurt were still there, but underneath was something stronger. Determination. They think they've won, I said quietly. They have no idea what's coming. Noah's office smelled like leather and success. He studied the stack of photos I'd placed on his mahogany desk, his expression unreadable behind wire-rimmed glasses. "How long have you been collecting evidence?" he asked, spreading out the surveillance photos. Each one showed Lyle and Elise at various locations over the past month. Restaurants, hotels, the Coast House. 6 weeks, I replied. Ever since I found receipts for jewelry I never received. Smart. He nodded approvingly. Most clients come to me after the fact, running on emotion. You came prepared. I pulled out my phone, opening a spreadsheet. I've documented everything. Missing money from our joint accounts, suspicious transfers, business trips that never happened. The private investigator's reports are thorough, Noah said, flipping through the file. Hotel receipts, credit card statements. You've done half my job for me. I learned from Lyle's mistakes. I leaned forward. He always underestimated me because I let him handle the finances. But I've been watching, learning, documenting. A knock interrupted us. Noah's assistant poked her head in. Mr. Gibson is here to see you. I straightened in my chair as Cade walked in, looking uncomfortable in his business suit. As Lyle's partner, I hadn't expected him to agree to meet. Sydney, he nodded, taking the seat beside me. I came because, well, there are things you need to know. Noah pulled out a legal pad. Mr. Gibson, you understand this conversation is being recorded? Yeah. Cade ran a hand through his hair. Look, Sydney, Lyle's been moving money around. Big amounts. The Coast House? He didn't just buy it for a lease. He's been funneling company funds through shell corporations. My hands clenched in my lap. How much? Millions. Cade looked sick. I confronted him last week. He said he'd make me a partner in his new venture if I kept quiet. But after what he did to you at the party, he shook his head. I can't be part of this. Noah's pen scratched across his pad. Would you be willing to testify? Yes. I've brought documentation. Cade pulled out a USB drive. Everything's here. Fake invoices, wire transfers, the works. I felt dizzy. All this time, while I was planning anniversary parties. Don't! Noah cut in sharply. Don't blame yourself. Channel that energy into taking him down. My phone buzzed. A text from Sadie. He just posted pics from the Coast House on Insta. You okay? I showed Noah the message. His smile was predatory. Perfect! They're documenting their affair for us. What's our next move? I asked. First, we freeze the accounts. Noah started typing on his laptop. Then we file for divorce, citing adultery and financial fraud. The evidence is solid. We'll hit him where it hurts. His reputation, his money, everything. He'll fight back, I warned. Let him. Noah's eyes gleamed. I haven't lost a case like this in 5 years, and none of my previous clients came this prepared. Cade stood to leave. I should go before anyone sees me here. Sydney, I'm sorry. I should have said something sooner. After he left, Noah turned to me. How do you want to serve him the papers? I thought about the anniversary party, about Lyle's smug smile as he humiliated me in front of everyone. He likes audiences, right? Let's give him one. The next evening, I walked into La Maison, the upscale restaurant where Lyle always entertained clients. Sure enough, he was there with Elise and 2 potential investors. Sydney! Elise's face drained of color. What are you— Don't get up, I said sweetly, nodding to the process server who appeared beside me. This will only take a moment. Mr. Jensen, the server announced loudly, you've been served. The restaurant fell silent as Lyle opened the envelope, his face darkening as he read. When he reached the part about financial fraud, his hands started shaking. You can't prove any of this, he snarled. Actually, I smiled, I can. Cade says hi, by the way. Elise grabbed the papers, her eyes widening. Lyle, what is this about shell corporations? I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Elise, you might want to check whose name is actually on the deed to that coast house. Enjoy your dinner. Outside, Sadie was waiting in her car. How did it go? Perfectly. I buckled my seatbelt, hands trembling with adrenaline. You should have seen their faces when I mentioned Cade. Think they'll figure out how long you've been planning this? I watched the restaurant disappear in the side mirror. They're about to figure out a lot of things, and this is just the beginning. You're turning into your father. Mom's words hit me like a slap as she poured tea in her sunlit kitchen. All this plotting and scheming for revenge. This isn't revenge, Mom. It's justice. I watched steam curl from my untouched cup. And please don't compare me to Dad. He said the same thing, before he took everything from me in the divorce. Sadie, who'd been quiet until now, spoke up. This is different, Mom. Lyle committed actual fraud. And what about forgiveness? Mom pressed. What about taking the high road? The high road? I stood up so quickly, my chair scraped against the tile. Like you did when Dad left? When you let him walk away with everything because you were too proud to fight? Sydney. No, Mom. I watched you struggle for years because you wanted to be dignified about it. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm not letting Lyle destroy me like Dad destroyed you. The silence that followed was deafening. Mom's hands trembled as she set down her teacup. I didn't fight your father because I was proud, she said quietly. I didn't fight because I was scared. Scared of becoming bitter. Scared of what that bitterness would do to you girls. And look how well that worked out. I laughed harshly. Here I am, bitter anyway. My phone buzzed. A text from Noah. Emergency meeting. Lyle's making moves. I have to go. I grabbed my purse. Sadie, you coming? Sydney, wait. Mom caught my arm. Just be careful. Revenge has a way of changing people. I'm already changed, Mom. Lyle and Elise saw to that. Outside, Sadie caught up with me. She means well, I know, but she doesn't understand. This isn't just about Lyle and Elise anymore. What do you mean? I pulled out my phone, showing her an email I'd received that morning. Remember Angela from accounting? She sent me proof that Lyle's been stealing from employee pension funds. Jesus Christ! Sadie's eyes widened. Does Noah know? That's what the emergency meeting is about. This is bigger than our divorce now. At Noah's office, we found him surrounded by papers, looking grimmer than usual. Lyle's trying to liquidate assets, he said without preamble. He's also filed a countersuit, claiming you knew about the business dealings and approved them. That's ridiculous, I scoffed. I have emails proving he kept me in the dark. I know, but he's desperate, and desperate people are dangerous. Noah leaned back. There's something else. Elise came to see me this morning. My stomach dropped. What? She wants to talk. Says she has information about Lyle's offshore accounts. It's a trap, Sadie said immediately. Probably, Noah agreed. But if she's telling the truth, this could be huge. I thought about Elise, my best friend since college. The woman who'd held my hand through my father's funeral, who'd helped me plan my wedding, who'd betrayed me in the worst possible way. Set up the meeting, I decided. But on our terms. Later that night, I sat in my empty house, looking through old photos. There was one of Mom, Sadie, and me at my graduation. Mom looked so proud, so hopeful for my future. My phone rang, an unknown number. Sydney? It was Vada, Lyle's mother. Please don't hang up. What do you want? To apologize. What my son did. It's unforgivable. But there's something you should know about his father's death. I sat up straighter. Lyle's father had died in a boating accident 5 years ago, leaving Lyle the business. The insurance investigation, Vada continued, her voice shaking. There were questions, things that didn't add up. Lyle was the last person to see him alive. Are you saying... I'm saying be careful, Sydney. My son, he's not who any of us thought he was. After hanging up, I called Noah. "We need to look into Lyle's father's death," I said without preamble. "Already on it," he replied. "The insurance investigator reached out to me yesterday. Seems he never believed it was an accident." I looked at the photo of my family again, at my mother's face, worn but dignified in her grief. "Mom was wrong," I whispered. "This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about stopping him before he hurts anyone else." "Sydney?" Noah's voice was gentle. "Are you sure you want to go down this road? Once we start digging into his father's death—" "I'm sure." I touched my mother's face in the photo. "Some things are worth fighting for, even if they change us." The insurance investigator found this in the archived files. Noah spread crime scene photos across his desk. "Notice anything strange about the boat's steering mechanism?" I leaned closer, studying the images of Lyle's father's yacht. "It looks tampered with." "Exactly!" Noah pulled out another document. The investigator was building a case, but suddenly dropped it. A week later, he bought a house in Florida, cash payment. "Lyle paid him off," I breathed. "That's our theory. But proving it now." Noah shrugged. "What matters is the pattern. Your husband has a history of making problems disappear with money." "Not this time." I handed him a USB drive. Angela sent more files. Employee complaints, missing funds, everything. Noah plugged in the drive, scanning the documents. His eyebrows shot up. "This is significant. With this evidence, we can—" A knock interrupted us. Noah's assistant ushered in Elise, who looked smaller somehow, her designer clothes hanging loose on her frame. "Sydney!" She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Thank you for agreeing to meet." "Talk fast," I said coldly. She pulled out her phone, hands shaking. "2 days ago, I found these on Lyle's laptop." She showed us photos of documents, banking statements, offshore accounts. "He doesn't know I saw them. He's been getting strange calls lately, speaking in Russian." Noah took the phone, examining the images. "These are legitimate banking documents, Russian oligarch connections. This is serious money laundering." "Why are you showing us this?" I demanded. Elise's eyes filled with tears. "Because I'm scared, Sid. The things I've heard him say on those calls. He's not who I thought he was. Last night, he was talking about taking care of loose ends." My blood ran cold, remembering Vada's warning. "Did he mention specific names?" Noah asked sharply. "Cade." Elise wiped her eyes. "He knows Cade talked to you." I grabbed my phone, dialing Cade's number. Straight to voicemail. "I'll send someone to check on him," Noah said, already making calls. "There's more," Elise continued. "The Coast House? It's not just a love nest. There's a safe room in the basement. I saw him storing documents there, but he caught me looking." "Is that why you're really here?" I studied her face. "Because he caught you?" She nodded miserably. "He changed after that. Started watching me constantly. I realized I'm just another loose end." Noah's phone buzzed. His face darkened as he read the message. "Cade's gone. His apartment's been ransacked." "Oh, God!" Elise started shaking. "He's really doing it." "We need to move fast," Noah said, gathering papers. "I'm calling the FBI. This is beyond white-collar crime now." "What about Cade?" I asked. "I have a contact in missing persons. We'll find him." Noah turned to Elise. "We'll need your official statement." "I'll tell them everything," she whispered. "Just protect me, please." I looked at my former best friend, seeing not the woman who betrayed me, but someone as trapped as I once was. "You can stay with Sadie," I heard myself say. "She has security cameras, and Lyle doesn't know where she lives." "Sydney," Elise's voice broke. "I'm so sorry for everything." "Save it. This isn't forgiveness. This is survival." Noah's assistant burst in. "Turn on the news, now!" The TV flickered to life, showing breaking news. "Local businessman found injured in apparent hit and run." The bottom dropped out of my stomach as Cade's photo appeared on screen. "He's alive," Noah said quickly. "In critical condition, but alive." My phone rang. "Sadie. Are you watching the news? Mom just called. 2 men were asking questions about you in her neighborhood. Get Mom and bring her to your place, I ordered. Now, don't stop for anything. After hanging up, I turned to Noah. How fast can we move on this? I've got FBI agents standing by. But Sydney, he hesitated. Once we pull this trigger, there's no going back. Your life will never be the same. I thought about Cade in the hospital, about Elise's haunted eyes, about the boat that killed Lyle's father. My life changed the moment I married him, I said. I just didn't know it then. Noah nodded, picking up his phone. I'll make the call. As he spoke to the FBI, I watched Elise huddled in her chair, Cade's face frozen on the TV screen, and felt a strange calm settle over me. This wasn't about my marriage anymore. It wasn't even about revenge. It was about justice. And justice, I was learning, could be more devastating than any revenge. FBI agents swarmed Sadie's living room, setting up surveillance equipment while Mom stress-baked in the kitchen. The smell of chocolate chip cookies filled the air, a surreal contrast to the gravity of our situation. Your husband's got friends in high places, Agent Torres said, showing me surveillance photos. Russian connections, dirty politicians, judges on the payroll. This goes deeper than we thought. Tell them about the boat accident, Elise called from the kitchen, where she was helping Mom. I watched Mom's hands freeze mid-scoop. What about a boat accident? Before I could answer, my phone lit up with Lyle's number. The room fell silent. Put it on speaker, Agent Torres instructed, signaling her team to record. I answered. Hello, Lyle. Darling. His voice was silk over steel. We need to talk about Cade's unfortunate accident. Accident? I kept my voice steady. Like your father's accident? A pause. Careful, Sydney. You're playing a dangerous game. No, Lyle, you are. How many accidents are you responsible for? I'm trying to be civil, he said. Call off the FBI, drop the divorce proceedings, and this all goes away. Otherwise, he let the threat hang. Are you threatening me? I'm offering you a way out. More than I offered my father when he threatened to expose my early business dealings, more than I'm offering Cade if he wakes up. The FBI agents exchanged glances, frantically taking notes. You just confessed to attempted murder, I said. Lyle laughed. On an unrecorded line? Prove it. Agent Torres held up her tablet, showing the active recording. Check your facts, darling, I replied. And check your phone. The FBI says hi. The line went dead. We got it, Agent Torres confirmed. That confession, combined with the financial evidence. We can move on him now. Sadie burst through the front door. They found Lyle's hitman. He's talking. What? Elise jumped up. How? Turns out he has a conscience. And a family. Sadie dropped her bag. He's giving up everything. The boat accident, Cade, all of it. Mom sat heavily on the couch. I can't believe this. I helped plan his father's funeral. I consoled him. He fooled everyone, I said quietly. Not everyone. Sadie pulled out her laptop. Remember that intern who quit suddenly last year? I found her. She played a video call. A young woman appeared on screen. I have recordings, the former intern said. Conversations between Lyle and Elise from before your anniversary party. They were planning everything. How to humiliate you. How to take control of the company. Elise went pale. That was different. I didn't know about the other things then. Play it, I ordered. The recording started. Lyle's voice, then Elise's laughter. Once Sydney's out of the picture, we'll have everything. What about the employees' pension fund? Already moved offshore. By the time anyone notices... I turned to Elise. You knew about the stolen pensions? She crumpled. At first, it seemed like clever business. By the time I realized... Get out! My voice shook. Sydney, please. Agent Torres, please remove her. She's just confessed to being an accessory. As agents led Elise away, Mom touched my shoulder. Are you okay? No. I watched Elise's tears, remembering years of friendship turn to ash. But I will be. My phone buzzed. A text from Noah. Hospital called. Cade's awake. I need to go, I told Agent Torres. Cade might remember something. Take a protection detail, she insisted. Lyle's desperate now, desperate men. Do desperate things, I finished. I know. I married one. At the hospital, Cade was pale but alert. Sydney, he croaked. I remember the car, black SUV. Lyle was driving. You're sure? Positive. He didn't even try to hide his face, just smiled and hit the gas. I squeezed his hand. We got him, Cade. It's over. Not yet. He struggled to sit up. There's a storage unit. Address is in my phone. Everything's there. Original documents, recordings, a backup drive. I was heading there when... A commotion erupted in the hallway. Agent Torres burst in. Lyle's gone, she announced. Private plane took off 20 minutes ago. Russian registration. He's running, I realized. With our money, Cade added bitterly. I thought about the evidence mounting against Lyle, about Elise's betrayal, about all the lives destroyed in his wake. Let him run, I said finally. The truth is already out. His empire is falling. Sometimes losing everything is worse than prison. Speaking from experience? Cade asked softly. I looked out the hospital window at the setting sun. No, I didn't lose everything. I just lost what I thought I had. And maybe that's not the same thing at all. The coast house stood empty, yellow crime scene tape fluttering in the ocean breeze. I stepped carefully through the front door, followed by Agent Torres and her team. The safe room's this way, I said, leading them downstairs. The basement smelled like expensive leather and fear. Behind a false wine rack, we found the hidden door Elise had mentioned. It took the FBI tech team 20 minutes to crack the electronic lock. My God, Agent Torres breathed as the door swung open. The room was a testament to Lyle's paranoia. Multiple computers, servers, file cabinets. On one wall, a corkboard displayed photos connected by red string. Me, Cade, business associates, even his own mother. He was tracking everyone, I murmured. Look at this. Torres pointed to a document on the desk. Transfer orders. He didn't just run with the money. He's been planning this escape for months. My eyes caught on a familiar box in the corner. That's our wedding album. Inside, instead of photos, I found stacks of cash and fake passports. Our entire marriage had literally been a cover story. Sydney? Mom's voice echoed from upstairs. Are you down there? Mrs. Murphy, this is an active crime scene, Torres started. Let her come, I called back. She needs to see this. Mom descended the stairs slowly, taking in the surveillance equipment, the wall of photos, the evidence of Lyle's true nature. I found this at home, she said, holding out a letter. It came this morning. The envelope bore a Russian postmark. Inside was a single page. Sydney, by now you've found everything. Congratulations on finally showing some backbone. But ask yourself, did you win? The money's gone. Your reputation's tied to mine. And sweet, naive Elise? She played you better than I ever did. Ask her about Atlantic City last year. Lyle. What happened in Atlantic City? Torres asked. My hands shook. I had a miscarriage. Elise was with me at the hospital, while Lyle was supposedly at a business conference. Check the surveillance board, a junior agent called out. There's a folder marked Atlantic City. The photos inside showed Lyle and Elise at a casino, all over each other, while I was losing our baby. The timestamp matched perfectly. Sydney! Mom reached for me. Don't. I stepped back, bumping into the desk. A frame fell, glass shattering. Beneath the broken shards lay a familiar document, my father's old business card. What was Dad's card doing here? Mom went very still. There's something I never told you about your father's bankruptcy. Mom? Lyle. He orchestrated it. Before you even met him, he wanted your father's shipping contracts. When your father refused to sell, the room spun. Are you saying Lyle destroyed Dad's business just to get to me? He played a very long game, Torres said quietly. The question is, why you specifically? A memory surfaced. Dad's last good day, before the bankruptcy broke him. He'd mentioned a promising deal, something about Russian shipping routes. Oh, God. I sank into Lyle's leather chair. Dad discovered Lyle's Russian connections back then, didn't he? That's why. Mom nodded. Your father was going to expose everything. Then suddenly he was bankrupt, discredited. Nobody would believe him. And I married the man who destroyed him. Bile rose in my throat. I helped him host parties, smiled at his friends, planned our anniversary. Stop! Mom's voice cracked like a whip. You didn't know. None of us knew. Agent Torres? Another agent burst in. We found something in the server logs, video files. The screen flickered to life, showing Lyle in this very room. If you're watching this, Sydney, you've won. Sort of. His recorded self smiled. But remember, you loved me. For 10 years, you loved a lie. What does that say about you? I stood up, walked to the screen, and pulled the plug. He's wrong, Mom said firmly. Love isn't weakness. Trusting people isn't weakness. Isn't it? I gestured at the evidence of Lyle's deception surrounding us. Look what trust got me. It got you the strength to fight back. It got you people who stood by you. Sadie, Noah, even Cade. And Elise? Some betrayals cut deeper than others. Mom touched my cheek. But they don't define us. Your father taught me that. Torres cleared her throat. We've got enough to freeze any accounts we find. With the evidence here, plus Cade's testimony. It's not about the money anymore, I said. It's about making sure he can't do this to anyone else. As we left the safe room, I paused in the doorway. The setting sun cast long shadows through the windows, making the crime scene tape glow like warning signs I should have seen years ago. You okay? Mom asked. No. I took her hand. But I will be. The courthouse buzzed with tension as I took the stand. 3 months had passed since Lyle's escape to Russia. But today wasn't about him. Today was about Elise. She sat at the defendant's table, designer clothes replaced by prison orange, her lawyer whispering urgently in her ear. Please state your name for the record, the prosecutor began. Sydney Jensen. My voice carried through the packed courtroom. Mrs. Jensen, when did you first become aware of the financial fraud at your husband's company? Objection. Elise's lawyer stood. Speculation about Mr. Jensen's activities goes directly to establishing the defendant's role, the prosecutor countered. Mrs. Jensen was a witness to both the personal and professional deceptions. Overruled. Judge Martinez nodded at me. Continue. I described finding the discrepancies, hiring the investigator, discovering the scope of Lyle's crimes. Through it all, Elise stared at her hands. And the defendant's role in all this? She was more than just my husband's mistress, I said clearly. She helped him hide money, attended meetings with his Russian contacts, and knew about the pension fund theft months before it was discovered. That's a lie, Elise burst out. I didn't know everything. Ms. West, control your client, Judge Martinez warned. The prosecutor held up a document. This is a transcript of a conversation between the defendant and Lyle Jensen, recorded in the Coast House safe room. Would you please read the highlighted portion? I took the paper. Once the pension fund transfer is complete, I read, we'll have enough to disappear. Sydney won't know what hit her. Elise's face crumpled. And what was the date of this conversation? 3 months before my anniversary party. The prosecutor turned to the jury. While pretending to help plan her best friend's anniversary celebration, the defendant was actively participating in fraud and theft. Sadie squeezed Mom's hand in the gallery. Behind them sat several former employees of Lyle's company, their retirement savings stolen. Mrs. Jensen, the prosecutor continued, tell us about Atlantic City. The room went silent. I looked directly at Elise for the first time. I was pregnant, I said, having complications. Elise drove me to the hospital, held my hand while I lost the baby. She said Lyle was at a business conference, but I gestured to the photos entered into evidence. He was with her at a casino while I was miscarrying. A juror gasped. Elise started crying. Sydney, please, she sobbed. I never meant. Save it for your testimony, her lawyer hissed. The cross-examination was brutal. Elise's lawyer tried to paint me as a vengeful wife, suggesting I'd fabricated evidence to punish my husband's mistress. Isn't it true, he pressed, that you hired a private investigator before finding any evidence of wrongdoing? No, I replied calmly. I hired one after finding jewelry receipts for items I never received. Items that, as evidence shows, were given to your client. And these supposed Russian connections, are documented in FBI surveillance and banking records, I cut in, along with your client's signature on multiple offshore accounts. During a recess, Noah found me in the hallway. Interpol called, he said quietly. They traced one of Lyle's accounts. He's running out of money faster than expected. Good. I watched Elise being led back to her holding cell. Any word on extradition? Russia's still refusing to cooperate, but Noah smiled. He can't hide forever. Back in session, Cade took the stand, still walking with a limp from the hit and run. Ms. West was present for meetings about the pension fund transfers, he testified. She helped create fake documentation to hide the theft. And the attempt on your life? Lyle was driving, but Elise was in the car. I saw her clearly. She looked away when he accelerated. The jury took only 2 hours to reach a verdict. On the charge of conspiracy to commit fraud, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of accessory to attempted murder, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of theft of employee pension funds, we find the defendant guilty. Judge Martinez's sentence was severe. 20 years, no possibility of early parole. As guards led Elise away, she turned to me one last time. I really did love you like a sister, she said. I know. I stood to leave. That's what makes it unforgivable. Outside, reporters swarmed the courthouse steps. Mom and Sadie flanked me as Noah handled the press. How does it feel? A reporter shouted. Getting justice? I thought about Lyle, burning through his stolen money in Russia. About Elise, facing decades in prison. About my father, who died never knowing why his business really failed. Justice isn't what I expected, I said finally. It doesn't fix what's broken. But maybe it prevents more things from breaking. Agent Torres waited by her car. Ready for phase 2? We've got a lead on Lyle's location. I nodded, feeling the weight of the past year, but also its purpose. Let's finish this. The Moscow hotel room felt like a trap closing in. Through my earpiece, Agent Torres whispered, Target approaching. Remember the plan. I adjusted my blonde wig, checking my reflection. The woman who stared back looked nothing like Sydney Jensen. Perfect. A knock at the door. Room service. I opened it to find Lyle, thinner and grayer, but still wearing that arrogant smile. He pushed the cart in, not really looking at me. Your caviar, madam, he said in badly accented Russian. Thank you, darling. I used my normal voice. He froze, turned slowly. Hello, Lyle. Sydney? His hand moved toward his jacket. I wouldn't, Agent Torres said, stepping out of the bathroom with her weapon drawn. Hands where we can see them. Russian police burst through the door, followed by Interpol agents. Lyle's face contorted with rage. How did you find me? You got sloppy. I pulled off the wig. That gambling habit of yours? Casino cameras are everywhere, even in Moscow. You can't touch me here, he snarled. I have protection. Had protection, Torres corrected. Amazing what happens when Russian oligarchs discover you've been skimming from them too. Lyle's shoulders sagged as handcuffs clicked around his wrists. Was any of it real? He asked quietly. Us? I loved you, I replied. That was real. Everything else was you. As they led him away, his last words hung in the air. I never meant for your father to die from the stress. Just his business, remember that. Back in my real hotel room, I called Mom. It's done, I said. They're extraditing him tomorrow. Are you okay? I don't know what I am. I watched Moscow's lights twinkle outside. Did you know Dad suspected something before he died? He left a letter, Mom admitted. I found it last week, cleaning out the attic. He wrote that something felt wrong about the bankruptcy, but he couldn't prove it. He was more worried about how it would affect you. I wish he'd told me. Would you have believed him? Love blinds us sometimes, to good things and bad. A text from Noah lit up my phone. Pension funds recovered. Russian accounts frozen. We won. Did we? I asked Mom. Everything's still broken. No, she said firmly. Everything's clear now. Truth hurts, but lies poison. Your father taught me that. Another call beeped in. Cade. The company board met, he said when I switched over. They want you to take over as CEO, help rebuild what Lyle destroyed. Me? But I'm his wife. Ex-wife, he corrected. And the person who exposed the fraud, saved the pension fund, and protected the employees. They trust you. I thought about all the families affected by Lyle's schemes, about redemption, about legacy. When's the first board meeting? Tomorrow at 9. Your office is already set up. My office. In the building where I'd once been just Lyle's wife. Agent Torres knocked on my door. Car's ready, time to go home. At the airport, she handed me a file. Lyle's confession. He admitted everything. Your father's bankruptcy, the pension theft, his father's death, even named his Russian contacts. Why confess now? Sometimes running takes more energy than facing consequences. She smiled. You taught me that. The flight home was quiet. I read Dad's letter twice, recognizing his handwriting, feeling his love and worry across the years. Sadie met me at the airport, hugging me tight. Ready to go home? Not to the old house, I said. Too many ghosts. No, she grinned. Your new place. Mom and I finished moving your stuff today. The apartment was perfect. High-rise with a city view, no memories of Lyle. One last thing, Sadie said, pulling out an envelope. Elise wrote this from prison. Do you want it? I took the letter, felt its weight. Not yet. Maybe someday. Fair enough. She squeezed my hand. Want company tonight? No, I smiled. I need to work on my speech for tomorrow. First day as CEO. After she left, I stood at the window, watching the city below. My phone buzzed with a text from Noah. Proud of you. Dinner sometime? I thought about trust, about fresh starts, about choosing to believe in good things despite knowing how badly they can hurt. Yes, I texted back, but not at La Maison. His reply came quickly. Never there again. How about that new Italian place? Clean slate? I looked at my reflection in the window, stronger, wiser, but still capable of hope. Clean slate, I replied. I'd like that.